Garrett from Blackluster Yu-Gi-Oh! And today I'm bringing you a Gem Knights deck profile. So let's get started. Alright, to start off, I have the 3 Garnet. It's the main beater of the deck. Great card. Always run 3. Triple Lazuli next up. Great card. Super good at recycling. You gotta run 3. Its effect allows you to, when this card is sent to the graveyard by card effect, you can target one normal monster in the graveyard, add that target back to your hand. So what you do is you target one of your Gem Knight Garnets or another card later in the video, and add that back, and allows you to go off even more. Great card. Usually run 3. If not, yeah, just 3. So next up we have the Triple Obsidian. Great card, just like Lazuli, recycles. And yeah, run 3 of that. And next up we have the Gem Armadillo, which has been called the Stratos of the deck. It is allowed, when it's summoned, you search out one Gem Knight card from the deck, or Gem Knight monster, my bad, from the deck and add it to the hand. Great card, recommend running 3. Alright. Next up we have the Double Tourmaline. I only run 2 because there's only one good Thunder fusion card in the deck, and you could easily recycle this card, so 2 is what you want to do. Gem Knight Tourmaline. Next up we have the Triple Absorb Fusion. This card, great searcher. When it's activated, you can add a Gem Knight card from deck to the hand, which usually, if you don't already have a Gem Knight fusion in hand, you'll add a fusion with this. It can only be activated once per turn, but still great. And I wouldn't use its second effect because you have to banish the material. Only use it in a desperate time. Alright, next up, we have probably the card that makes the deck. Gem Knight Fusion. You can use it to fusion summon your monsters, obviously, but the part that makes it good is when this card is activated. It goes to the grave, and then you could banish one Gem Knight card, which is usually an Obsidian or a Lazuli, because you can't really search these back anymore, and they're just useless in the grave. So banish those out, add this back to hand, and blow up even more. Next up, we have the Triple MST. I run 3 because I don't have any Galaxy Cyclone, and it's just really bad to run into back row in this deck. So, Triple MST. Next up, I run the Double Brilliant Fusion. It's really good when you don't have a very good starting hand, and great mid-game, because you could just send 3 cards for a specific monster in your graveyard, or in your extra deck. It is known as Gem Knight Lady Brilliant, and she's a great card. I recommend sending 2 normal monsters and a Lazuli, because Lazuli allows you to add one of those normal monsters back and give you extra hand advantage. Alright, next up we have the 1 Rescue Rabbit. In the beginning of the game, it's really great to draw into. It allows you to go into a couple of the XC. I particularly like the Dark Rebellion. Great card to jump over stuff. And it allows you to fusion summon a lot. So 1 Rescue Rabbit. Next up, I run the 1 Gem Knight Lapis. It allows you to go into the exceptionally good fusion monster, Lapis Lazuli, which I'll talk about later in the video. So just 1, because it's alright. Next up, I run 1 Crystal Rose, because this card, pretty great. You can banish a fusion monster from your grave to special it back up, and then send 1 card from the deck to the graveyard, and then it gains the name of the card sent. So you send a Lazuli, and since you send a Lazuli, you can add 1 back to hand from your graveyard. A normal monster. So great card. Only run 1, because if you draw into it early, it's just garbage. Next I run 1 Gem Turtle. Gem Turtle, I only run it because it gives you the extra little searchability for the Gem Knight Fusion, which if you don't draw into that, it is a tough game. 1 Gem Knight Turtle. So next up, we run the 1 Regeki. Great card, you know what it does. So 1 Regeki. Next up, Dark Factory of Mass Production. This card, great for recycling your normal monsters if you've burned through all your recyclers already. Allows you to add 2 normal monsters from your graveyard to your hand. Great if you want to explode. So, 1 Dark Factory of Mass Production. I only run the 1 Upstart just to add the little tiny bit of consistency to the deck. If you want to replace it with something else, you can, but I only run the 1 Upstart. Alright, next up, we have Mirror Force. Great card, defense, always good. Alright, Breakthrough Skill is really good at stopping those monster effects that are really pesky and you run into every once in a while, and you really gotta stop them. It's pretty good against Cosmos, so I might consider running more. Next up, Trap Stun. This card you can run more of. It's pretty great. It stops all traps for 1 turn, which is amazing in this deck, because if you attack into like a Mirror Force when you summoned up all your monsters, it is really bad. Alright, so next up, Brilliant Spark. Now this card's a little underrated, but it is quite clutch when it works. When a Gemini monster is destroyed by battle or card effect, your opponent takes damage equal to the original attack of the monster destroyed. And you can add this card back to your hand by banishing a Gemini, or by sending a Gemini card from your hand to your grave. Pretty great. Can recycle it, burn for amounts of damage that are pretty good, and yeah. Next up, I run the 1 Magic Cylinder. Great card for stopping the attack and dealing damage. So I only run 1, but you know, you can run however many you want. Bottomless Trap Hole. Great card, you all know it. Stops a special summon, or a normal summon for that matter, for any monster over 1500 attack. So, great card, and it banishes it, which is always good. Next up, I run 1 called Haunted. This card's pretty great when you need it. If you draw into it early, it's a little bit of a hindrance, but late game, if you draw this and you can bring out one of your old fusion monsters that got destroyed, it is pretty clutch. Alright, and lastly, for the deck, for the main deck, we have 1 Dimensional Prison. Great at stopping the attack and banishing. That's all that needs to be said about that card. Alright, so next up is the extra deck. So we have the... I'll start out with the XCs. I run 1 Dark Rebellion XC. Great card, can jump big monsters. You know it. It's great, cheap, always good. Next up we have the number 101 Silent Anarch. Great card for the rank 4, steals monsters, and pretty awesome. Gastel, pretty much same thing as Silent Anarch. You're not really going to go into the rank 4s as much, but when you need them, they're really good. Alright, next up we have 2 Lady Brilliant. Great card. Main card you want to bring out with Brilliant Fusion. And you can tribute a Gemini card on the field to bring out any Gemini Fusion monster, even herself. You can tribute herself to bring out any Fusion monster. The side effect of Brilliant Fusion is its attack is 0 and its defense is 0. But if you use her effect, that's not a problem. Alright, next up we have 2 Gemini Zirconia. Zirconia is great because it's a big 29 beater and you can go into some pretty cool plays with them. Alright, next up we run 2 Gemini Citrine, Armatis of the deck. And what can I say? Stops all traps and spells or any effects during when it attacks or is attacked. So a great card if your opponent runs a lot of traps. Now the next card I run 2 of, one of my favorite cards in the deck, Gemini Prismora. This card, when it is, you can send 1 Gemini card from the deck to the graveyard, including Gemini Fusion, which is usually the card you want to send, to destroy 1 face-up card on the field. Now that's pretty great to destroy the field, and you can still attack when you activate that effect. So great card, run 2. Next up, I run 1 Gemini Lady Lapis Lazuli. You can burn with this card like no tomorrow, and even get some searchability if you send a Lazuli to the grave with its effect. Next up, we run a single Gemini Master Diamond. It's a big guy of the deck. He can get to some pretty massive attack points when it's late in the game. Plus, its second effect allows you to banish a fusion card level 7 or lower, I believe, and gain its effect for 1 turn. So usually you want to do either Prismora or Citrine to either destroy a card with using Prismora's effect or attack over defense with the Citrine effect. Next up, I have Gem Knight Ruby. It's a okay card. I only run one of it. It does piercing damage, which is alright. And you contribute a face-up Gem Knight card, and it gains attack equal to the monster you attributed attack. Now, lastly, I run one Thunder End Dragon. I run this because, like I said, you can summon up a Gem Knight Zarconia pretty easy, and you can bring out two really easy, actually. So, I run one just in case you need it. If there's any big guys on the field you can't jump over. So, that's it, guys. Hope you liked the profile, and I'll see you next time.